Welcome back. Thank you so much for keeping it eCircuit. My name is Christine Kiai. Our social media handles at eCircuit TV Show on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Make sure you interact with us and make sure you send in your music requests. Ndio tuendelee kuwachezea your favorite songs. I've already seen some messages coming in, but don't worry, we will be able to sample them as we go on with the show. But now I want us to talk about something just a little bit more serious than just the music and the fun. I want us to talk about gender-based violence. And with me in studio is two very, very, very abled and very experienced ladies in this particular field, and they're going to tell us more about that, more about what they're doing. They're from WADI, an organization by the name WADI. So I have Eunice and I have Purity. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. So Purity, Eunice, I know you're the director, but just introduce yourself a bit and just tell us your work at WADI. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I'm actually very, very pleased to be on this show. Yeah. More so that it's so youth-oriented, and it's a good sign that we have to start talking serious stuff among young people so that we don't just reserve the conversation with the mature and the elderly, even as we want to start talking about gender-based violence today. My name is Eunice Barasa. I'm the managing director at WADI Consultants and Trainers, an organization that is so heavily inclined on gender issues, where we work with individuals, we work with groups, we work with the youth, we work with corporates, we work even at the grassroots with the communities, just to sensitize them on matters gender and how we can be able to transform our relationships so that they become more productive. We have healthy relationships among ourselves, and we ensure that everybody benefits from their existence on this earth.
All right. Thanks. And then Purity.
Yes. I'm Purity Mutuma, the lead consultant at WADI Consultants and Trainers. I think a disclaimer, boy child, we remember you. Gender is not about women. We're here to talk about both men and women.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, just like you've mentioned, it's important that we're talking about it in such a youth station because these relationships begin now at a very young age. But one thing I'm very curious about is at this day and age, it's 2018, the world we have evolved technologically, in so many other ways. We've progressed in so many other ways. Why are we still experiencing and talking about gender-based violence? Why is it still an issue?
Well, that's a very interesting question because on one side, we are saying that we are advancing, we are growing, we look at ourselves, we are not at the same place where we were 10 or even 5 years ago, even 3 years ago. Yet we are still talking about gender-based violence. Yes. And the focal point that I would like to drive home is that at the heart of gender-based violence is the desire to exercise power and control over a person just on the basis of their gender. And it's sad to say that the discussion or the talks around gender-based violence has been so divided. There was a clear-cut point of talking where we say this one has been abused, this is the abuser, and then this is the survivor. And a lot of our efforts have been focused on how we can rescue the survivor, and then we leave aside the abuser. And that's why we realize that on and on and on and on, we keep on having stories of gender-based violence coming to the fore, even through our media, through our own peer talks and all that. Because we have had very less concentration on the abuser, we have failed to look at the very, very root cause of what drives gender-based violence. And as I had just mentioned, that at the heart of it is power and control. Where is it derived from? We have our own cultural settings, our own cultural systems. We are wired differently, from where we come from. I was discussing with my colleague a while ago where we were saying that, we just say it casually that, I'm not going to mention names, but in that community, kazi yao ni kuchapa tu, hasira zao ziko tu hapa. And then we are so casual about it. We don't take it like something that should trigger us into action. So if I begin to date a guy from this tribe, it's like I'm just walking on eggshells because it's acceptable that people from this community, their work is to beat up ladies, to beat up wives, and we leave it at that. So we need to take our conversations further. We shouldn't be comfortable with practices, attitudes, beliefs that encourage and condone that.
All right, so I want us to expound a bit on that. What are some of these things, that catalyze that, you know, make gender-based violence so prone? Is it culture? Is it nurture? Is it nature? What are some of, you know, even just from your experience, you know, dealing with these issues for many years?
Yes.
What are some of the key factors that lead to gender-based violence?
I think one of the things that really catalyzes GBV is actually socialization. How we are socialized from a very young age. Currently, I can tell you the struggle we are having is the prevalence of violence amongst men being abused by women is actually on the rise. But do you know we are still taking it as a very funny issue? You know, a man goes to report, or even amongst peers, a guy says, nimechapwa na demu yangu. Wow! You know, it's a funny thing. Like, wait. Uligongwaje. How was it? Like, give us that scenario, you know? So we have a lot of men going through violence, but they keep quiet about it, you know? On the other hand, we are still socializing our young girls and our women not to talk, you know? A girl goes to the mother and says, I'm being abused. And I'm like, dem ni kuvumilia mami, you know? Such talks that we keep having. So conversations around gender-based violence are still not very vast. We still feel very sad when we say we are working on gender programming and the men give us a look, nyinyi ndio wale wanawake wa, you know? No one understands gender is also about men and women. So socialization by media, at the home, in institutions, learning institutions, is really contributing to such issues. And also just cultural practices, you know, where still we have not given, you know, women a voice, you know, and just an opportunity to even say no. I think I feel so sad when I interact with girls in universities who are being abused by their boyfriends. I'm like, why are you even in that relationship?
Thank you.
You know, you should have already walked away. This is not your husband. This is just, you know, you need to have that confidence as a woman where you're saying, I will not tolerate violence. I'm too special. I had you guys saying I'm gorgeous. Do you believe you're gorgeous enough to actually say no and walk away? So we really need a lot of conversations around gender-based violence.
Because I kid you not, when I was in campus, I actually knew two of my, not exactly close friends, but people in similar circles who are being abused by their boyfriends. We are in second year. I'm like,
exactly.
You know, you're too young. You're not even married to this person. You know, then how do we help our young girls, especially, and even our young men? Because even the young men who are absolutely being abused by girls. How then do we help? Because these are young people. They haven't even gotten to the stage of marriage, but they're accepting, they're embracing, you know, men and women, they're embracing. I mean, they're like, he loves me or she loves me, that's why she's doing this.
Okay. When we came in, we actually listened into the initial conversation you are having here when you are talking about, well, I have a partner who has a close friend on the other side, and this person is not disclosing. Should I disclose? Should I not disclose? You know, that's how the conversation was going. But then in the meantime, we are like, how healthy is that arrangement for you? If you condone it, are you healthy with that? Are you okay with that? If you don't condone it, then what should you do? So in the first instance, we need to train ourselves to adopt healthy relationships. Just ensure that this relationship is healthy for you, as in all round. Gender-based violence is manifested in different ways. We have the physical form of it, where you're beaten, you are slapped, you're kicked, and then someone comes and suits you with a kiss and goes away. And there you are all over, and you say, actually, I think he loves me or she loves me, and you forget it. Or someone just comes and emotionally abuses you, pulls you down, and reduces your inner worth. Emotional violence, the essence is to make you feel worthless, strip you of your self-esteem so that you remain nothing. And the guy looks at you, and who will actually love you in the first place.
So you feel like you have no option.
You have no option
be with the person.
There. You understand? Then we have the sexual violence where someone believes that, we wangu, why should you say no to me when I want sex? As in you don't have actually control over your own sexual desire, control over your own body. You don't have it. You suggest no, and then if we have to have sex, can I propose condoms? You understand? And you're told, no, why should you propose condoms? You are a lady. I'm the one with the power here. You understand? Those are some of the dynamics that come out in gender-based violence. But now when we come to the level of the youth. First and foremost, they have been cut off from this conversation where we focused our attention so much on intimate partner violence. This is a component of intimate partner violence among the adult human being. And then very little has been done like to foster, to sensitize this kind of violence among young people. So we need to widen up conversations among ourselves, even among the youth, ensure that you have got a good support system. Identify people who can be close to you, that you can feel free to talk to, who will ensure that they also have a safety plan for you. And in most cases, the way my colleague was saying that socialization, unachapa, unaambiwa weka tu mwanamke ni kuvumilia. So the young girl is also there. After all, I've been seeing my mother get beaten up. I also have to get used to it. You understand?
Yeah.
But there has to be that time to break away. How safe are you in that relationship? Well, you may have to provide information as much as you can for this person, but that safety plan should be at 2 levels. How can you help this person so that even if she or he has to stay in that relationship, they are safe? If not, ensure then there's that physical distance, that safety is also enhanced. So number 1, healthy relationships. Let this person know and choose whether they should stay or they should walk away, and give them that network, good support network or system.
Yeah. So then, once you've noticed that your friend, be it male or female, is going through, some form of violence, some form of harassment, then how do you deal with it? Because that's a whole other level, because sometimes you would go to help someone, you go to tell your friend, I don't think you should be this person, because if they're doing this to you, then this is not right. And then sometimes they view it as you're interfering with their life. How do you approach, how do you help people who are experiencing gender-based violence?
I think for us, we say the first 48 hours when working with a survivor are very crucial.
Just a minute, please do share the mic.
Okay.
Yes.
So we usually say that the first 48 hours of working with a survivor are very crucial for us, because that's where they are able to make a solid decision. Now, there's a mistake we usually make. When we are working with survivors, we make decisions for them. So I'm coming to you because you've been beaten. I'm telling you, you have to. By the way, I'm not leaving you here. We're going. You know?
Yeah.
And that person really has not made up their minds that they want to leave.
Yeah.
So it becomes quite of a challenge. So for us, we usually say, 1, don't stigmatize this person. And I find this, sorry to say, so very mostly amongst young people, you're there having fun, and then your girlfriend tells you, by the way, mi nilichapwa jana usiku. You can't even picture that. You're like, how? As in, no kakatu hapo ukachapwa. Already you've made them feel like they're worthless. Like, what they're going through is really, really bad. Like I am dying or something. But it's more of encouragement. It's more of telling them, giving them as many options as you can, and then giving them that opportunity to make the decision. So we usually will have what we call a cycle of violence that has various stages. We have the tension building, where there is just that tension. They're seeing this person, their perpetrator, and they get scared and all that. And then after that, we have what we call the action phase, where there's actually the form of violence that takes place, anachapwa, anaumwa, and stuff like that. Then we have what we call the honeymoon. Is where they're told, Aki, it was the devil. Sweetie, it was the devil. Me, I will never do it again. On you,
Yeah.
And this girl feels, or this man feels, okay, we are good to go. So until you're able to work with someone to get out of that cycle, it's usually a process. The other thing I keep saying is they need constant support. Don't just give them advice and leave them. Work with them. Show them what real love is all about, and have the courage, and let them have the courage to actually walk away from such a situation. Yes.
All right. So let's talk about now your organization. What exactly do you do do you deal with the victims from the beginning? Do you try to find people who are experiencing this, or do you just wait for people to come and report cases? How do you go about dealing with gender-based violence and such issues?
Basically, as an organization, as I had mentioned earlier, that we work at different levels of society. We are the grassroots, and usually at the grassroots level, it's so difficult to go out and reach out to survivors as they are. what we do is that we work with groups. We work with groups. We have peers at their peers at the community level who work. We call them working groups, actually. People from different sectors. We have people who work in clinics, in hospitals. We have mamas from chamas. We have people working in how do you call them? Community-based organizations. They come together. Now, our point of intervention is when it comes to capacity building. We sensitize them and we tell them, as you go out, kindly pass the word. You know, we call it community activism, whereby since we know what's happening up here at our level, we go down and then devolve that same information and knowledge to them so that they can go out and reach others. But on our own as an organization, if we can say that we have to go out and reach out to survivors, they come to us, it's a little bit overwhelming, and the impact won't be as much as if we were to deal with a wider group of people at the groups. But also in organizations, what we also do is we are working with organizations to sensitize them on issues of intimate partner violence and how it impacts the workplace. Because this is a discussion that is left out there. When you come to work, you are like, mambo yako ya nyumbani ni ya nyumbani, kindly hang them at the gate as you walk in, wear your professional look and come in and work as though nothing happened. It's never as we think, because the consequences of violence, gender-based violence, intimate partner violence, they don't remain with you at home waiting for you. Kirudi utanikuta akuna. You go wherever you are going to in the wider society. The consequences are with you. You have a mental, your mental disposition is hurt, it's damaged. Maybe you are bruised, you are wounded, you are cut. You need to attend to court cases. You need to go to the clinic, and unless your workplace is sensitive to such issues, unless they are receptive, it becomes very difficult even for you to, as in just go through them.
I want us to quickly talk about something that I noticed this morning. I was having my conversation early in the morning on Real Talk, and something you've also said. So you find ladies have some ladies, because of the experiences that they have gone through, you know, through their fathers, their uncles, their partners, their boyfriends, other men. So they have developed a certain hate, a certain bad attitude towards men, you know, because of gender-based violence. And the vice versa is true. The way you were saying that when you talk about gender-based violence, the men just think, oh, okay, fine. So now these are the women now coming to bring their issues. How do we solve that? How do we make both parties understand that this is an issue for all? We don't need to have bad attitude towards each other. It is actually individual. Yeah.
I think I want to concur with what you're saying. I've also had very many statements from you, especially young women who've been heartbroken. Yani this men, saying men are this, men are that. But I think one of the things I can say is not all men are like that, you know? It's just a few of them. And something I have realized, especially with women, you know, we are emotional beings. So we carry, like we have baggages and we have so much heart. And even in a lot of our trainings, we usually do an exercise that we call the River of Life. And basically, we are telling participants and the people we are engaging, go back to your life and just, you know, look at some of the bad experiences that you've gone through. Have you been able to deal with them? Have you been able to walk through them? And sometimes I know people hear about counseling and they think, hey, these ones are for people who are, you know. But I actually encourage a lot of people to go through counseling. It's very important. Talk about these issues. You know, what do you feel? Because that helps you deal with issues, one, at you know, at different levels. And it also works for the men. I know there are men that have been hurt by their mothers, have been hurt by girlfriends, and they really feel, hey, women, no. Now, one of the things we promote at Wadi is we say, as men and women, we actually need each other.
Yes,
you know, we really need. There are things, even if I tried, I will honestly need a guy to come and help me, you know, and vice versa. And I think we really appreciate how we were created very differently. So we just need to bring our energies together and have peace and unity, you know, in our communities. So for me, I keep encouraging people, go for counseling, talk about these issues. And one of the things to add on what Eunice was saying, as Wadi, we can't even work alone. let me tell you, working with a survivor, you can't work alone. So we have a lot of referral systems, you know. We refer, we have counselors on standby that sometimes when we can't even handle the case, we shall refer. We have a lawyer on standby that we need legal advice. So it's the same thing. We really need to work together just to be able to kill this monster. I call it a monster, called gender-based violence.
And like I'm just saying, at this day and age, we shouldn't even be talking about it. It shouldn't be an issue. It should be like an issue of the past. But you know, if someone wants to participate, or if someone is out there listening and they're going through this and they want to reach out to you, how can they reach out to you? How can they contact you?
Okay, we have our open lines through which they can reach us. Is 0721 338 995. Call us at any time. I'll repeat, 0721 338 995. And
we also have an Airtel, 0735 147 993. Yes.
All right. And any the website, social media handle?
yes, we are on Facebook at Wadi Consultants. That is our most active page.
All right. So
Yes.
people can reach out to you on that. So, I mean, let's keep this conversation going. Let's share our experiences and make sure that you reach out to Eunice and Purity and the organization that is Wadi. Reach out to them if you need any help, if you need any advice, or even if someone wants to contribute somehow in some positive way. And let's continue to have these conversations. But thank you so much, Eunice and Purity, for coming through and sharing that with us.
Thank you very much for having us.
All right, all right. So we're going to take a short musical break, but don't go anywhere. We will be right back.